PJ Farley from the band T. Rickster.
Yep. Fry Rickster.
They're great, actually. They've been playing out a lot lately. Steve Brown and PJ, and then our friend, he was Kip Winger's percussion player, but he's a great drummer. Got like 4 on the floor type of drummer. Can you see me?
I can see you. I can see you. This is like every show we do. We never start off properly. You're the only show. Hello, Eric. Welcome.
So what? It's like
I know that. It's okay.
It's a conversation, man. It's like talking to your bartender or your hairdresser. In my case, shouldn't be the case. Your case, you look pretty damn good there, John Cougar Mellencamp.
Getting old. Thank you. It's all effects now. Lasers, tape, Botox. You been busy year. You didn't stop after Mr. Big.
No.
Let's talk about all the stuff you've been doing, man.
Well, I couldn't. For years, I couldn't wait. I play these shows, and it's the same old stuff with rock people. They can't wait to go on the road, and they're out there for a long, long time, and they go, I miss my family. I miss I forgot to water my plants. Whatever. Not for me. My sons are 20 years old, and they got jobs. They're in college. They got jobs now. One's a math teacher. That's Jacob, and then my son Dylan works at a kind of a local sports store just for the summer, and then they go back to college. But like they don't need me, I mean, they barely call anyway. Boo-hoo. I mean, get used to it, fathers out there with older kids. But that's the only reason why I was coming home, just I couldn't wait to see my kids. But I come home and they not this time. They made themselves available this time. But not for long, they're I'm an empty nester, or as they say.
Literally sound like cats in the cradle.
Exactly. The cat's in the cradle and the silver spoon. And trust me.
I'm surprised you guys never covered that song. But it is. I went through that
earlier. Oh yeah, Ugly Kid Joe and Mr. Big. So I didn't. It's like, what's the point of coming home to basically my house that looks like the Star Wars loading dock. It just like got so much stuff in it, suitcases, mail piling up, guitars that need tuning, a bunch of Converse Chuck All-Stars just sitting in the corner. It's basically a big gigantic storage closet at this point
for your life. I was going to say now, your pictures are hung up, so I was going to say you look like you're more settled in. But the truth is, this is the only part of your house that's probably settled in.
No, the whole place looks like
really settled in.
People are gonna go, wow, you're a bit of a hoarder, a suitcase hoarder. My whole upstairs, it used to be my kid's room, because my ex-wife and I, we share the kids, for a while. And it's just kind of 2 beds and tons of suitcases and guitar cases, and it's ridiculous. I mean, I used to go, oh, look at me, look what I've done. I'm like, oh God, it's a nightmare. I'm going to the Goodwill like pretty much every other day, just like shoving shit out, right?
Winding down now, like that's a good point actually with the suitcases and stuff like that. At a certain point, aren't you just like used to traveling? Like you have like a couple suitcases, a couple guitars. Like, I mean, you travel solo a lot and do your thing.
Yeah, I've been doing that a lot lately. So like after the Mr. Big tour, or the last 4 shows of Mr. Big, which ended in
makeup.
Yeah, it wasn't makeup shows. It was.
Oh, was it?
No, it was. We added 4 more shows, 2 in India and 2 in Japan. We played Budokan Arena, which was like way more packed than it ever has. Like, God, it looked like 14,000 people. Sold out. That was February 23rd, and about 11 days later, I went on the road with Avantasia, the rock opera that I'm a part of, with, I've talked about it a million times, a power rock band from Germany, Tobias Sammet, the main guy, the creator, the brainchild of the whole thing, and he enlists about 6 or 7 singers from around the world, mainly, European, big, huge rock singers. And Jeff Tate was part of it for a little while, but he's doing his own
Mm.
thing. Me and this woman named Adrienne Cowan, who's a killer singer, kind of like one of those hybrid. I should probably hate me saying that, but like a great uh, rock singer, but then also has this kind of growling thing happening.
Yeah.
And she's from Texas, and I'm from Northern California, so we're kind of like the only two Americans. But anyway, so Avantasia was Europe, 11 days after Mr. Big, and then I went on tour. I scheduled this thing like we've been planning it for pretty much a whole year. Me and Jeff Scott Soto did a tour in South America, well, Brazil mainly. And we used his band, a band called Spectra, and we played, I don't know, 10, 12 shows, full on rock style. We actually opened a Foreigner with Lou Gramm in Sao
Oh,
Paulo.
that's pretty cool.
Oh, it was awesome. The coolest thing was it was kind of a throw and go sound check for me and Jeff because,
Yeah.
I mean, he had to do he has all kinds of contraptions, and he almost does sound on stage for himself. I mean, he's got this gigantic suitcase like Felix the Cat, full of like his own gear. And man, he's a professional, not me, man. My inners don't work. I'm just an idiot. But we did a throw and go sound check, and Jeff did his couple songs and check his mic, and then he left. And then I was checking my mic, checking my acoustic guitar, and I get off the stage, and Jeff's standing there with Lou Gramm watching our little bit of sound check. Lou was there. I couldn't believe it. And Lou goes, "Hi, Eric." And I'm like, "You know me." It was really, dude, I got chills just thinking about it now. But he goes, "Hey, Eric, how you doing?" I'm like, "Who?" It was really neat.
Mr. Graham.
Oh, Lou Gramm he, I mean, I have a short list of idols, and it's like Steve Marriott, Paul Rogers, Lou Gramm, Ronnie James Dio, Frankie Miller, and that's it. That's it. I mean, sure, Jagger and Rod Stewart and all that thing like that, but though that select group of people, singers, I'm just there. I just go Gaga over. I go Lady Gaga over. But so then after Jeff Scott Soto tour, I had one day off, flew to England, and I had an acoustic rock tour with my partner, David Cottrell, who is a guitar player in a band called Demon. It sounds really heavy metal kind of thing, but kind of
Seems
like,
pretty dark.
it's not actually. They used to be kind of like this devilish theatrical thing on stage, but they're older now, and they're kind of like Saxon meets Y&T. They're really, really good. But so David Cottrell and I did a handful of UK, not a big, 10 shows in the UK, and we drove all over England and Scotland and Ireland, Northern Ireland, and it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. And then I came home and same old, did 2 tons of laundry, all black clothes, black as the night. And great, that was my acoustic guitar. Not anymore. Anyway, come on, baby. Oh, this one doesn't go on the road that much because of the falling. Um, so, God, I hope that wasn't some sort of omen, like
No.
at the end of my career. I hope not. But I got home and I did a bunch of laundry. My son Dylan had a deviated septum.
Septum.
Yeah, and he had surgery about a week ago, and he's healing up really nicely. He's already gone back to work. And I've been spending a lot of time with him. And I had dinner with my son Jacob last night. Got the Disney Channel, watched every Star Wars movie and even Andor, and it was awesome. And now I don't know what to do with myself except I'm booking more shows for the
Yeah.
end of the year, and I got some really good ones. My next show, which is I have to look at the calendar, man. I don't have a manager, so it's just me. Tim, my
How's
manager.
that working out?
It's hard. It's hard. It's been hard for a long, long time. My manager, Tim Heine, that manages Mr. Big
Hmm.
and manages, well, he managed Winery Dogs, and I think he managed Paul Gilbert's solo career. And he just wrote me right now. But so I'm playing a couple uh, shows in Michigan uh, at some couple winery shows, or the kind of big band shell amphitheater
Yeah.
things. And then a couple weeks later, I'm playing Arcada Theater in St. Charles, which is outside of Chicago. And I got, it's going to be straight ahead rock and roll. It's not going to be acoustic shows. It's going to be with PJ Farley, my
I've heard of him.
hand guy. He's off the road with Fozzy and Trickster for a minute. So he'll be playing bass on the winery shows. Uh, Jason Hartless, drummer for Ted Nugent, really great
Hmm.
drummer, killer drummer. Um, Julio Gomez, I think his name is, a new guy that plays guitar and a kind of a Paul Gilbert style guy, which is
Yeah.
good because I'm playing a lot of Mr. Big. What a shock! And I mean, I wrote a lot of those songs. I mean, a good 80% of those songs. So um, he'll be playing with me, and then me. So doing the winery thing, and then the next couple weeks later at the Arcada Theater, that's going to be Jason, Julio, me, PJ's doing his trickster thing, and I'm so close to getting this guy Martin Motnick, who plays bass for the band Accept. He's a really good guy, and he sings great. He's a lead singer too. Praise the gods. Anyway, um, so we're gonna do that, and there might be some extra shows that I'm trying to get to play some more stuff in Northern California, my own, hometown.
Yeah.
After that, um, I'm playing one show in Indonesia, in Jakarta, with my old colleague, Billy Sheehan. It's with this band called Dewa 19. So it's Dewa, Dewa 19. They're the most famous band in Indonesia, uh, and they're really great. I mean, if you look them up, I mean,
I'll have to look him up after.
you got to look them up. I've met them all. They're really super nice guys, really talented musicians. But I'm like, I only heard of them because of people like Scott Soto told me about them, and Dino Jalusic. And so when I looked on Wikipedia, it actually says the most famous band in Indonesia. So there you go. So they've are playing this huge stadium. I mean, we're talking like 50,000 people.
Wow.
And it's me and Billy playing a few Mr. Big songs.
Mhm.
Nuno and Gary from Extreme playing their hits. I think Dino Jalusic. I don't know if you know who this guy is, but he's an incredible singer. It's one of those guys where me being a singer, I'm looking over my shoulder going, oh no. It's he's so good. He's
Is
really
he a
good.
younger guy? Is he kind of new?
Younger guy, good looking,
Yeah, I think.
younger guy, total rock star. Um, yeah, he's killed. I played some shows with him. I think he opened some shows. Sebastian Bach, Dino Jalusic opened some shows for Mr. Big in South America. But anyway, yeah, he's really good. John Waite, John
Heard of
Waite,
him.
dude, yeah, dude, I couldn't believe it. We did this press conference um, last year at the Rainbow in on the Sunset Strip in LA.
Yeah.
And it was me and Billy, and Jeff Scott Soto was there. He's done some shows and stuff like this with Day
Mhm.
119. But it was really neat. I walk in and I see Billy over by the bar, and I'm like, "Sup?" And he's like, "Sup?" You know, we've been together for 1,000 years. And I saw Jeff Scott Soto. He was yapping away to Billy, hopefully trying to get Sons of Apollo back together. Maybe. And a couple other people, and then Day 119. And I was like, just kind of looking around. The This lady comes up to me and she goes, "Hey, you want to do your makeup?" And I'm like, "Do I need makeup?" No, of course I say. I go, "Yeah, where do I go?" And all of a sudden, John Waite comes in the room. Everybody's looking at him because he's John
John
Waite.
Wait.
And John Waite comes up to me, just like the Lou Graham thing. It was really awesome, Sean. He goes, "Hey, Eric, how you doing?" Right? I don't have an English accent. I'm more Mary Poppins on that area. And he goes, "Hey, mate, how you doing?" I'm hugging him like, "Yeah, right." Anyway, it was really neat. But he'll be there singing, hopefully,
Some babies.
oh, I hope, of course, he's got to do Head First and uh, Back on My Feet Again, and When I See You Smile, Missing You. Oh, I hope he
Got a
does.
lot of
I
hits.
hope he does. Yeah, and he had an album called Ignition that is like one of my favorite John Waite records. White Heat, God, or what, Mr. Wonderful is a song. Another song, Make It Happen. I love John Waite. I love his phrasing. He's like, like people say Frank Sinatra. If you love Frank Sinatra, it's his phrasing and how he
It is.
moves around the lyrics. That's the same thing about John Waite. He's got a unique way of fitting his lyrics into songs. It's just brilliant. Anyway, that's one show in Indonesia, and I thought, shoot, man, as long as I'm there in that part of the world, I should try to book some shows. So I got this guy, Paul Barbas, who's a booking agent for Mr. Big and a bunch of other things, but he's booking agent for Mr. Big for Southeast Asia. And I just called him and said, I mean, this honesty, I go, "Hey, look, I don't really have a plan. Sometimes I just go into these countries, like kind of Chuck Berry style, get a local band or a Mr. Big cover band, and we work things out for a couple days, and then we do a tour. And I come home with my attache case, like Chuck Berry used to do. And I've done that around the world for years. And Paul even said, he goes, "Are there any cover bands or Mr. Big cover bands in Southeast Asia?" I was like, "Hundreds." But anyway, there are. And I go, "But then I also do an acoustic show with a partner from England, David Cottrell." And he goes, "Okay, let me see what I can do for you." 2 days later, boom, huge tented. Well, I mean, some are in ink and some are in pencil, you know, for shows. But man, a list of shows, maybe 5 or 6, maybe 10. Trying to get 10 after Indonesia, and it'll just be me and Dave playing acoustic. So I was really worried about the next couple
Yeah.
months, September and all that, because I had this tour with rock legends. It was with me and Jolyn Turner, all European people.
Hmm.
Mark Storace, really great singer from the band Crocus. Anyway, and that fell through just recently. I mean, I don't know what happened. Who knows? I mean, like, the ticket sales, people not available. It happens all the time, but it was advertised and it was like 20 something shows. It was great, but that was my month of September and October. But now I got this Asian thing happening. And then after that, yada yada yada, I go tour with Avantasia for another run around Europe, and then also get to go back to Japan. Woohoo! And then after Avantasia in December, I'm going to do my I've talked to you about that Mr. Vocalist thing, right?
Oh, I've talked about it to you before. Oh yeah,
Okay, okay.
there's
Sorry.
like 8 albums, all Mr. Vocalist, version
Yeah,
one,
yeah,
version two.
five, but who's counting? So, but there is a few more like live stuff. But so I'm playing uh, Osaka and Tokyo, and it's like two shows a night at a place called Billboard Live. And that's the one show is Mr. Vocalist songs, really mellow, Michael Bublé kind of style, really good. Or yeah, got a great band, as my father would say. They're a crackerjack. They're a crackerjack, orchestra, and they are great. And then the second show is me and my partner Dave playing acoustic and playing Mr. Big songs, my solo songs, some new ones. And then that's Osaka and Tokyo. And there might be another one, hopefully, after they see this interview. Maybe they'll look
If it
for it.
calls in, you get
Yeah.
to yeah,
And then we're going to Taiwan and it's two shows and it's just me and Dave. So yeah.
that's
And
pretty busy.
that's it
Not a
is
lot of US though. Only a couple of US shows.
it is busy, but it's not like God, I was on the road with Mr. Big for almost 2 years straight. And oh, that was a lot of hard work.
What was it?
Yeah, there was a lot of hard work and broken bones and trying to,
You don't you didn't have to
you
be the
know,
manager or anything. You could just show up.
what'd you say?
You didn't have to be the manager for that though. You didn't have to do any of that hustling.
No, but you have to stay healthy. You have to get your shit together. 25 songs a night. It wasn't a lot of
Yeah.
shows in a row. It was like travel, hardly any days off at all. And then when there was days off, it was me, which, hey, look, I'm not complaining. There's no tears, but it was me doing a record with Tak Matsumoto Group. It
Hmm.
was not there. It was constant working. And look, you know,
It's good.
it is good. It is good. I'm actually freaked out about my 2026. I want to find, I'm trying to get things going for that. And there will be something going for that. Another tour with Tak Matsumoto Group. And I hopefully everybody's available for that. That's
That's
Jack Blades and
obviously yeah, Jack, yeah. Because you just within the album count, like last year, it was the second album, right? You guys did?
yeah, TMG2 or oh, it's called well the tour actually a live album and a live DVD came out weeks ago, called Still Dodging the Bullet. The first album 20 years ago was called Dodging the Bullet. anyway, anyway, but I love that was so much fun. I love playing with Tak Matsumoto. He writes great songs. He's a killer guitar player. But and then also getting to see my partner in crime, one of my partners in crime, Jack Blades. I love that guy a lot. Um, he just sent me pictures. He played some show with Night Ranger and a couple other guests. He goes, I just played a show at one of your, like a private show at one of your favorite places on earth. And I go, okay, what? And he goes, Mar-a-Lago. I'm like, okay. Oh, yeah, I mean, and then he showed me pictures of it. I don't think anybody's ever seen the inside of this place. It looks like Arabian Nights. I mean, it looks like some kind of an Arabian palace inside. A
Doesn't
lot
surprise
of
me.
gold, a lot of gold. We got
A lot of gold.
gold. Um, and he's got a bunch of pictures in there, but hey, more power to him. Do whatever you got to do. And he loves that side of the fence. But anyway, and I got no fault. Do whatever you got to do. So I hope he'll be available. I'm sure he will. And then Matt Sorum, who is, one of my new best friends, great drummer, always working. And I hope he calls me for one of those Kings of Chaos gigs because I'm ready. And I'm bored. I'm not bored here talking to you, Sean.
I know, I know.
And
You've got a
this,
lot though. I'm enjoying this, catching up with you and hearing all the stuff you got going on.
this
You
is the
know,
first time in a long time that you let me just have a platform and just yap away without you just chatting away. Did your
I
wife
know.
tell you to like kind of keep quiet a little bit?
She said something, but I wasn't listening. Something about I wasn't paying attention or something. I don't know. I wasn't listening.
Anyway,
No,
that's my story.
stick with it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I do have something going on. I'm gonna do it's been we're kind of this is the blueprints of it right now, but I'm working on kind of a short documentary on my life.
Oh boy.
A short, you know, they go, we want to do a documentary about your whole life story. I'm like, oh God, please don't. I don't like private. Okay, first question. So how old are you? I can imagine, yeah, frightening. Um, so it'll be like maybe a legacy documentary on, the experiences and the adventures that I've had over the years.
Legacy is a kind of a dark word though. Like this usually if you pass, legacy is like you're no longer with us. It's a
No, yeah,
legacy.
I know that. I know
The
that.
phrasing of that, I'd be like, can't you do something more cheerful, more
I know. I
current?
just thought of that. I know because I looked up. I don't want to do a full documentary. I want to do like a short documentary, and um, and I want to have like it's we're doing it for Japan for when
Hmm.
I go to see the folks there with the Mr. Vocalist thing, and then my acoustic show, and have people have the audience and the fans of Japan involved in it, like be interview them, have them interview me, um, send in some videos that they've taken of me and Mr. Big,
Yeah.
just like be a part of it, like we're all in it together. They can direct stuff. They can, almost like all of us producing this documentary. I don't know how it's going to fly, but it's
It
it could
sounds creative. I
it
mean,
could be good. There are going to be some new songs in it.
oh, that's exciting.
Um, yeah, and it'll be definitely hopefully show the comedic side of it. Not it'll be all positive, like almost a bond that I have, the connection that I have with the Japanese fans over the years, with through Mr. Big, my solo stuff, and just personal. I mean, I have a lot of Japanese fan friends that,
Yeah,
hey, how
reach
you
out to you.
doing? How you doing? A lot of correspondence back and forth. And I don't know, it's just in the blueprint stage right now, but you'll hear about it.
You should do some of it in cartoon.
What?
You should do some of it in cartoon, like Yellow Submarine.
Well, like there's this guy, David Calcano, who is a writer and an animator, and he came up with all that stuff. I don't know if you saw any of these animated movies, cartoons of
Yeah,
Mr. Big. There's some
perfect.
on YouTube. You got to check it out. It's called Fan Tunes, and he does
Okay,
this great one about with it's hilarious. I don't know if we talked about it before, but
I don't think so.
um,
Not
you
with
know,
me.
he's got this character, and he's walking on the street, and his limousine comes up. It's cartoon, and it's the four of us with Pat Torpy, Billy Sheehan, Paul Gilbert, and myself, and we like throw out a ticket, and it says Mr. Big on it, and he goes, "Oh, I can't," he's like, and it's there's some dialogue, but mainly just like almost like a silent cartoon. And so we sped off, and he's got to get to this gig, and he's running along, he's running down the street, and there's this bulldog, Colorado, even has a little,
Powerball.
it says Colorado Bulldog on it. And it's funny, like he sees this like vegetable stand, and he takes this hot pepper and he shoves it up the dog's rear, and he gets on the dog, and he flies, to the big concert, and there's it's a really detailed comic too. Like he's riding along, and he sees this like pig flying, kind of like
The
what if
what if?
album. And then he gets to the gig and he can't see, and I'm up there, and I actually did like a scream for it. Like I used to
Yeah.
do all that screaming stuff in the 80s, 90s. Yeah, doing my thing. And I'm screaming, and the band's rocking out. And there's this huge concert, and this this character is trying to, and he always gets in an accident, and it's kind of crazy. But um, he's trying to see the band, and then he runs through this door, and all of a sudden, crashing right through the wall is this train, and he's on the train, and he jumps. It's really cool. And this David Calcano, friend of ours, put it together. God, maybe he'll. Oh, I would love it if he did something
No,
for me.
I'm sure if you put it out there, you probably would
Yeah,
do it. I mean, the fan.
he did this wonderful video. He took an interview with Pat Torpey, uh, or he found an interview, or he did the interview. I don't know. It was Pat was talking about his life, and how he started drums, and it was kind of it was maybe a year before he passed away, but he did have the Parkinson's, right?
Yeah.
And and then David put together this whole cartoon around this interview, and that's on YouTube too. And folks at home, try to check that
Check it
out.
out.
It's beautiful. It's a little bit of a tearjerker.
Sure.
We played both of these videos in the back of our in the big screen in Tokyo when we played Budokan a few years ago. Oh man, it was wonderful. Anyway, yeah.
I'll have
So
to check
this
this out.
short documentary. I keep saying short because the way I talk, this documentary is going to be maybe
Long.
a mini
Lord of the
series.
Rings. Long Lord of the Rings. Three
Totally.
movies with like three extra discs. Like you talking about yourself talking probably over yourself talking. It's gonna be
I
classic with you.
know. Here's me. Here's everybody. Shut up. All
That
right.
would be hilarious. So you narrating yourself in the documentary afterwards.
Yeah. Oh no,
That's
no.
what it would be.
Can you imagine two of me? Oh yeah. All
No.
my the rest of my band back home all over the United States are going, "Oh God, make it stop." Um, yeah. Be like a split screen. So, how old are you? Anyway, um,
If somebody's so worried about your age, you bring it up a lot. You
I
bring
don't care.
up the
I
question
don't
from
care
curiosity.
anymore. I don't care anymore.
I
I'm,
think
yeah.
the seal is broken. I think almost probably like our first interview they got you the before and after. There's an article. That was the one that got you. Do you remember
Got
that? It was like
got
4 years ago. During COVID, they showed some video or did some picture of like you when you were like, I don't know, looks like you always look like you're 18.
Hey,
You're like
check this
super
out.
young,
Check this
and
out, Sean.
then now.
Oh yeah. So all the black clothes are still in the laundry, and I find this shirt laying on the closet
Comment about that.
floor.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It's my old band 415. This little, what they said in the newspaper, this bucktooth cutie right here, that used to be me. Um, yeah, that was 1983, 415. A couple of the CDs, actually, there's a few CDs on Metallic Blue Records. They put out 415 demos, re-record, not re-record them, like remixed them, and they're out. And actually, I'm doing a charity event for a woman's charity. I can't remember what it's for actually, but it's in Monterey, California, on July 25th, and it's with where's he? This
Most
guy,
of those guys.
right? This guy, well, no, this guy, John Nyman from the band Y&T. Uh, Me and him, this guy, another Y&T alumnus, Brad Lang. Um, some other artists. Uh, Female singer Elena Keating. Oh, drummer is another 415 guy. Where is he? Can you see this? Jimmy Hoagland.
With the haircuts and the striped shirts, it just looks like just a bunch of members from the police
It
from
was
back then.
about the
That
same
was the
time.
style. It was the same style.
Oh, is the same like
The haircuts and the shirts.
bangs, unwashed hair. Everybody's got stripes
Yep.
and maybe even striped pants too. Oh yeah, everybody had stripes. Well, we were we were in rock bands, and I was in a band 1978, 79. I was in a band, now I'm dating myself, called Stark Raving Mad with a guy named Donovan Stark Raving Mad,
Raving mad.
and
Well played. Back
and
then. Especially back then.
yeah, and Paul Taylor was a keyboard player and guitar player. And he wrote, you know, Miles Away. Anyway,
Yeah.
yeah, him and I used to be in a band together back in the
Wow.
early days. We were young kids.
Like the
Uh,
1800s.
what?
Nothing.
I must be 100 years old.
No, I feel like the 1800s. I'm like, you're not that much older. I get that from my kids all the time. I just love to just do that all the time. The
Oh,
old
dude,
jokes.
I'm the Gandalf of rock and roll. Um,
You
I
shall
never
not
know.
pass.
So, any hooch, um, so it's almost like a 4015 reunion on July
That's pretty
25th.
cool.
Yeah, I'm really looking for. I mean, John Nyman gave me a set list, and he named a bunch of Mr. Big songs on it, and I'm like, "Phew, good, thank God, I don't have to learn anything, right?" And he named like a bunch of 415 songs. I'm like, are you kidding me? I mean, like, oh my God, you know, oh my God, this is way before my balls dropped.
No,
That,
your voice is a lot
those
higher.
vocals are high.
That was a release that wasn't that long ago in the past year, right? That you're talking
Yeah,
about. Yeah,
yeah, and then
I went back and heard it. There's a difference. Yeah,
yeah,
you've changed like a fine wine.
I mean, it's still me in a really high timbre kind of voice. Still has the. I listened to it the other day too because I'm gonna have to learn some of these old 415 songs. And damn, you know, it still has the licks. Too many licks, actually. I didn't. I dumbed it down over the years, but I remember this one time. The manager, one of the managers of that band, 415. Um, I was in another band called Kid Courage, and one of the reasons they kicked me out was I sang too many licks. Uh, and there was other reasons too. I dated the keyboard player's sister. That was a no-no. Um, and then I didn't come to practice. That was another no-no. But I was playing the Catalyst in Santa Cruz, 78, maybe 79, and I'm like, yeah, yeah, whoa, whoa, you know, as singers do back in the day. And he counted. They recorded it, and he counted it like 18 yeah yeahs and whoa whoas in like one song practically. And it's like, that's too much. I'm like, I, I'm I'm sowing my wild oats here. I'm trying. I'm feeling it out. I don't know. You know, I'm
We'll get you like a tip
unbridled. What can
jar
I
where
tell you?
that's a dollar every yo-yo.
I'm
You're
kicking
singing.
the barn door. I can't wait to get out. You know, I don't know, but that's just something that stuck with me, like over the years.
Well, you were young though, learning. You were like what? So 78, you were probably 8, right? So
Easy,
you were still learning.
easy. Let's just go with that. Yeah.
Oh wait, that was me. I was 8 years old in 78. I'm sorry. How old are you now?
Well, yeah. What did I say? I don't care how old I am. I'm 60 plus years old, and
Plus what?
way
2 years.
more. You know, plus is a real heavy.
I know. Wow,
Uh,
you're not that old.
yeah.
You're
Let's
not
just
that
stick with
old.
that. I Yeah. Where are we in this conversation?
Yeah, you
Um,
know the band, yeah, yeah, and you're going over the top of breaking the rules for being in
yeah.
the bands.
So yeah. So that was 415, and then so I'm paying an homage or tribute to 415 today. Another member of 415 was and then somebody, some idiot thought that like 415 wasn't a good name, and they decided to call it the Eric Martin Band. I mean, that's an okay name too, but it was Troy Luccketta. Jimmy Hoagland had left, and Troy Luccketta played drums for
Tes-
us for
Is it
years.
in
Yeah,
Tesla?
Tesla, yeah. Fan and a collector friend of mine named Matthias Hoffmann from Germany, hence the name Hoffman. Um, he he can find anything. Oh my God, he found a recording of me. I used to talk about it all the time. I played the day on the green in Oakland, California. It's like 80,000 people, but when we played, it was 10 o'clock in the morning, so there was probably 5,000 people getting beer. And
Is that the one when like Metallica played and it's a big thing, right? Was that the Day
no,
in the
this
Green?
this one, yeah, but way before Metallica, this was. I mean, I saw like a British Day, which had UFO, Peter Frampton, right when the live album came out,
Hmm.
when it was just a godlike. Um, I saw Leonard Skinner, but on the show that I'm talking about, it was Hart, Loverboy, Pat Travers, and this is Pat Travers right when Boom Boom Out Came the Lights
That's the light,
was
yeah.
on the radio a lot, and then Hart, Loverboy, Pat Travers, special guest Ozzy Osbourne, um, and me, what 415, and we played for
Wow.
yeah, we played for 15 minutes maybe, and you know crap was coming up like fireworks and bottles, and and it's like, this is my hometown. We don't care. I don't know. This is back in the day, and at the end of the concert, the um, famous uh, promoter from San Francisco and New
Right.
York as well, Bill Graham, he had like an Easter basket or some kind of a basket with all the. It looked like confetti, but it wasn't. It was like firecracker paper, from all the stuff, all the
All
M
stuff.
that came up. And then he had a bottle of Cristal champagne. Could have been Corbel, but I think it was Cristal. And he goes, "Hey, you guys did it." And this is the second time that we did something like that, but it was Dan the Green, and he gave it to us, and he goes, "You made it the 15, 20 minutes. No band has ever made it that far without crying and leaving the stage." And I'm like, "Oh, thanks a lot." And that Matthias Hoffman, he's got
Yeah.
that recording. Like, and
Wow.
yeah, I mean, I don't know how he has it, but he got that and he just sent like some Kid Courage photos of me and the band on stage, and I've never seen him before. God, I was so
That's kind of weird, huh?
I
That's
was so
crazy.
skinny. I weighed easily 85 pounds. I mean, and I don't know how old I was, right early 20s or something, or 18, 19. But here he is, uh, full skinny, playing with my band, getting on the shoulders of the bass player, singing, rocking out. And it was at a place called the Mabuhay Oh yeah, by the way, a lot of stripes. It was a place called the Mabuhay Gardens on Broadway Street in San Francisco. And it was a punk rock club, a very infamous punk rock club. A lot of bands played there um, in their early days, Blondie and all that, Iggy Pop. But and Kid Courage was like a cross between the Rolling Stones and the band Traffic, Stevie Winwood Traffic,
Yeah.
and great rock and roll band. But my voice, oh my God, so high,
Oh,
ridiculously high, and apparently too many yeah yeahs and whoa whoas. and they had to boot me. So
Did it finally stop, or were you still getting at the Mr. Big rehearsals last year? So it's like, hey, Eric, pull back
oh no,
some of the no,
no.
I still get it.
I learned my
No,
lesson.
just joking. I'm joking.
No, I learned my lesson big time. If I was ever a prima donna, I was in Kid Courage. I people might think that I am, but I'm not at all. I love what I do. I treat people great. I love the fans and all that, and I also respect the band. And I do come to rehearsals. Back in the Kid Courage days, I'd read stuff like, "Oh, this kid's a star. He is Kid Courage," and I'm like, "I am." You know that I was that
Kid
back in the
Courage.
day.
It's like a superhero.
It's a great name.
I know
Great.
for a superhero.
Oh man, I want to
Kid
use
Courage.
that name again.
You should use it again.
I
That's your
should.
next album. That should be your next. You can kind of take it back, like a
I
full
think we're
circle
gonna.
thing.
Somebody will probably do it before me, but I'm gonna. Yeah, my next album will be Kid Courage. All right.
That
I
was pretty funny.
got
Yeah, right.
a carrot on a stick now. Woohoo!
See, here we go. You actually. So when you said you do solo stuff, you do some of your solo stuff. What songs are you doing in your solo besides Mr. Yeah, you do Mr. Big, obviously. What solo songs are you doing?
A song called Untouchable. Um, I've written a song for years. It's called Back in Blue. Never recorded it. Um, Pretty tune. Very soulful. There's some new stuff. Well, not new stuff, but like I haven't like.
You haven't recorded on your solo stuff? Because I know most of your solo stuff. Can't hear it.
It's called. Oh no. I might have stolen a title from the old days and put him in a Mr. Big song. That can't be. Where are you? Where are you? It's called Where Are You? Um, I did write a song with Mr. Big called Where Are They Now?
You know, I'm gonna say this is kind of familiar because also when you've been on, you talked about another song you may have borrowed, but not on purpose, was
Hmm?
Kansas from Steve Brown. So I'm just gonna say this is the second song you've done this to.
No.
Maybe a
But
pattern. No,
that Kansas, no,
oh,
that Kansas song, I could have indirectly, if that's the right word, plagiarized.
inversely, I don't know.
It's not a Trickster song. It's called Freak Like You. Uh, I can't remember what band that was. Freak Like You. It was Steve Brown. God,
Right.
and I hate being indebted to him, by the way. But yeah, it's like, let's go a little crazy, baby. And then his is like, could it be? Da, 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 da. Pretty close. Pretty damn close. And if he ever decides to sue me, so be it. I'll
That's
have
so
to.
funny. You actually said you said pretty close. That's the exact same thing you said last time, like years ago. It just popped up in my
Yeah,
mind. It's pretty hilarious. But
I think
I
I
enjoy
don't
you
know.
singing that
I
song
don't know
though. I
why I
actually
did.
like you singing the live version of
Okay,
that song.
what?
I'd love to hear you sing that song at some point live. The Kansas song,
I've done
the
it
whole
a
thing.
million times, but I'm going to do a hybrid now of Kansas and Freak Like You. Yeah, medley.
You're gonna put that on your Kid Courage album.
And the money I make from it, I'll give back to Steve Brown. All right.
That's too funny. What about you doing some of your songs and actually recording stuff so people can hear some of your new stuff? Maybe even some singles.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe.
The
Well, if you
kid.
say you've got songs that you play out, but no, they're not actually recorded, it's kind of hard for fans to kind of
Well,
know
here's
them.
what it is. It's the musicians that I play with are always busy. I'm not blaming on that. I'm blaming on myself too, but I'm busy and I come home and I got nothing to do but wash clothes and do some vacuuming. You know, it's not, it's, I'm, I was, I don't know why I'm telling you this, but like I'm walking around on my bare feet this morning and I'm like, going, I felt like I was walking on the beach. There's so much sand in here. Anyway, I live right next to the beach. So, yeah, and I got all this free, I go, I'm so bored and I'm watching Star Wars. I should be recording an album. But it's always something comes up.
Well,
And,
with your
and,
schedule, I
and
mean, honestly, in the beginning, I thought, yeah, you should because you have all these songs. But knowing you after all these years, I'm thinking maybe you should just do a single, like a single. The little single.
People, yeah, there are a lot of bands that do that where they put out a single. Like,
There are some bands just all they do now is singles. There's one young
well,
band I just saw last night, Lonely Ones, Lonely. I'm killing it. They were really good, but I went to look them up. And now I'm like you.
yeah,
Um, what was anyway? They're all singles. They don't have like a full album. I'm like, so I had to go to iTunes and take all their stuff and just
yeah.
rename it, make it an album because I'm old. I
Well, no,
hate
that's the same
skipping
thing.
through.
I've been into this band called the Struts for a while now. Really cool, kind of heavy pop rock band um, from England. The lead singer, his voice is like almost Freddie Mercury, almost glam kind of stuff. You got to check it out.
I'm
But
familiar with them.
recently, they put out, been waiting for a new album, and they've been putting out singles. And the same as you, man, I'll put it in my file, and I go, the new Struts album, and there's like five of them so far.
Mhm.
So yeah, I mean, people do that, and I could do that. Look, for the longest time, I used to say, um, why do a solo album? Everybody just wants to hear the Mr. Big songs. Um, to Be With You, Wild World, Just Take My Heart, and a couple other rockers. They just want to hear that. They don't want to hear I mean, I feel it sometimes when I'm on stage, n- not in Europe, but in America, where there's like, how many beers do you want? You can hear it.
I
You
always wondered that because a
get a
lot of artists don't ever admit
t-shirt.
that. You
What'd you
know,
say?
like I always wondered that, and some artists don't admit it. I'm like, do you feel the pressure like when you do a song that not everybody knows? You know what I mean? Do you feel like the band they're just waiting there, like, like they're waiting just to hear that one song? Like that's it.
Oh,
You do an
dude.
entire show, parking this, get the babysitter, and you want to hear one song. Oh,
Oh, I don't like that. Oh man, just recently something happened, and I shouldn't do this, but I think in my head it's comedic. I was in London, and it was a great sold out acoustic rock show. It was a
mhm.
really great show. It was at a place called Cart and Horses, where Iron Maiden first started, and it's
Oh
got
wow.
iron. It looks like a hard rock cafe of Iron Maiden. It's really cool, but I'm playing all these songs, and I have I've hired my friends to play with me, drummers and bass players and singers, and we're playing the thing, and I see this group of girls yapping away, and I start doing a little dynamics. Hey, bring that a little bit softer now, a little bit soft, and I come over to the lip of the stage, and I go, "What are you girls talking about? What are we?" And I just pin, and they were like, and it was a weird, and it was funny, but then it was like, okay, slowly back out, slowly back out. This is not cool. Abort, abort. And I've done that a couple times. We're like, will you shut the front door? But and then when you play To Be With You, or when you play the hits,
Yeah.
they're like, how's it going? You know what I mean?
I
And
don't understand that. I would
I
be
don't get
frustrated.
it either. It's generational. We didn't do that back in the day.
If I was you, I'd be like, here's some deep cuts that we didn't release for Mr. Big, and then I would just play your songs. If you're a fan, here's a special treat for you. Yeah, I'll lure them in like a
Yeah.
bus with
I
candy,
that's the way I
or
look at it
puppies.
too. And I like seeing, when you see a band and I like them talking to me, telling
Mhm.
me some stories about what they've done over the years, or like making a mistake or something. It's personal. And there's a lot of mistakes and comedy and taking the piss out of people. I do it all the time, but sometimes when I go, "Oh god, was that too much?" And at the end of the show, people always come up to me and say, "Oh, what a unique rock and roll show." Almost like looking into like I feel like I know you. And I'm like, "Yeah, that's me." I'm basically
Pretty much out there. You're pretty much out there.
I am. And I love it. And I love it.
I know.
I never used to be able to do it. You know, maybe I choked a few times in the beginning of the Mr. Big um, um, years. And maybe that's why Billy and Pat and Paul were like, "Hey, just shut up and sing. You're not that good talking to the people." And then I've told you
It
this
was a different
before.
time though too.
Yeah.
It was very serious
Well,
rock and
yeah.
roll. The arms are crossed. You were playing for with Rush. They were not looking for jibber jabber
No,
and
no. But like in my
tomfoolery.
early day, yeah, I didn't do that then. It was at all chipper jabber. But like when I was first starting out with Mr. Big, they were like, could you keep the, you know, the diatribe, or
I tried.
could you keep the stories to a minimum and just introduce a song and basically shut up and sing? And then it wasn't till years later I sort of, when I started doing solo stuff, I perfected it. I got a lot more comfortable. I was always kind
Mm,
of nervous in the early days of Mr. Big, talking to MTV or Headbangers Ball or talking to the audience. I don't know why.
really?
I maybe I was intimidated a little bit by Billy Sheehan. He was so, and Paul too. Paul's just a natural speaker. He's great.
Hmm.
Billy, man, he knows exactly what he's going to say. He almost studies for a test. I mean, he's improv too, but he almost studies for a test. He's so good at it. And I remember this one time we were doing a MTV thing, and they were on the stage right before about to play, and they're talking to Pat, and they talked to Paul, and they talked to Billy, and then they talked to me, and I was like, I mean, total deer in the headlights, and I could feel. Look, I'm not trying to hurt anybody's feelings or anything, but this is what I felt on the stage. I felt like one of the guys over here going, yeah, here we go, and I just like clammed up. But then it wasn't until years and years later where, like, I didn't know if I'm doing good or not, the way I talk to people on stage, or doing an interview and just be comfortable in my own shoes, until I played in Japan with Pat Torpey and another friend of ours, John McNamara. And we did a live DVD acoustic show, and that was like the beginning of my acoustic life. And I was doing my thing on stage, and Pat goes, "Man, you're a great entertainer. You're funny. You're really great. How come you didn't do that in Mr. Big?" And I'm like, "'Cause of you. And
You son of a gun.
man, I should be shot. You're awesome." And you know, a couple years later, or actually a year later, maybe, we started doing more Mr. Big tours, and Pat was like, do your thing, do your thing. It was great. It was getting like a little pat on the back. I mean, look, it took me forever to feel comfortable.
And
I
and a pun too, right there. And a little pat on the back.
Little
Look
pat
at
on the
that.
back from Pat
That is
Torpey.
a pun. That is a pun on top of a pun.
Oh, I don't know if I told you this, but and it's not shtick, it's not novelty. It's from the heart. Uh, but every time I'm on stage, no matter who it is, um, when I was doing my acoustic show, I did it recently. Me and David Cottrell, and I go, "I'd like to introduce the band. This is right before I'm going to sing To Be With You." And it's kind of a little joke, with David Cottrell. And then I'm the one who wants to be with you. But I go, on drums, Pat Torpey in spirit, right? And the crowd loved Pat Torpey. And they
Yeah.
just get such a kick out of that. And I've
Yeah.
been I've been having a great time playing, especially the acoustic stuff, because now this is the health portion of the interview. Uh, yeah, playing on stage with Mr. Big for 30 plus years, 30 something years. Yeah, man, it's just super loud, and this is a boohoo moment, but yeah, my ears got
Mhm.
screwed, and going to the doctor, like I remember like 10 years ago, I went to the doctors and got my ears checked, and it was
Mhm.
like, you have 15% hearing loss in your right ear. And I go, no wonder I can't hear the kids. Daddy, can I have, like, can't hear you. Dad, can I borrow what? Anyway,
Now you joked though with his frequencies. I got hearing aids for that. You can't hear high voices. They said frequencies for me,
yeah,
and I'm like, really? They're like, yeah, like women's voices and like teenage voices. I was like, oh, can I wait a couple years on this? because I'm in a sweet spot right now. Because everyone's just at that age. They're like, no, you'll be deaf. I'm like, fine.
No, and then I know I have, because I did get it checked out 2 years ago before I went on the road with Mr. Big, and it's a lot more than 50. It's like 18, 19% now in the right ear. And I'm like, God damn. I mean, like, and I can't stand it when you're like, because nobody wants to talk louder, say in a restaurant or something. I'm
Mhm.
like, what? What are you saying? Like, God, Dad, do something. Do something. Get some hearing aids or something. But yeah, it was hard over those years playing on stage with no in-ear monitor. And even when I had the in-ear monitors, I would it was great because I could dial the guitar and bass down and their
Mhm.
vocals down a little bit. But my mic was so hot that it would bleed right into it, and so it became my fault too. So anyway, I do like playing the acoustic shows. I don't get burnt out. I'm not screaming. I'll miss Mr. Big, and I love playing rock and roll, and I'm doing it again. But I do like the acoustic shows. I can play multiple shows in a row. Health wise, I'm great. Um, that whole UK show tour, about 10, 12 shows, three in a row vibe, and then four in a row. Oh man, it was, believe it or not, it was a piece of cake. Never had a problem. When I
Well,
got
that's the way to
home,
go.
oh, it was wonderful. And then, and the guy that plays with me is maybe 5, 6 years younger than I am, but he's got a little, he's like, we're both driving in the car. What? 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 Um, like there was this one tour that Paul uh, played with us where he had headphones, kind of like Pete Townsend on
Mhm.
stage. It was kind of cool, but he couldn't hear anything, and he just had like a balance of himself. And anyway, and then another tour after that, he didn't have the headphones anymore. And I'm like, oh, would you get like surgery or something? And he goes, nope,
Mhm.
got these awesome hearing aids. And hey, look, I wear the in-ears all the time, and it's like, it's like I was like, in hearing aids. I got to get over my damn self because I'm thinking like, oh God, I'm old, 1 foot in the grave. No, now when I get that together, I might go, wow, this town in England. Oh man, it's on the tip of my tongue. I can't remember where it is. Maybe you'll remember, but Def Leppard's from this town.
Sheffield.
Sheffield. I was singing Shepperton, but yeah, Sheffield. And me and Dave are driving to the show, and I looked up Pete Willis was the
Oh wow.
original guitar player with he was the second guitar player in Def
Yeah.
Leppard, but he played on I think he wrote Headed for
Fir- First and
No,
second album or something. Was he on
High,
the first?
High
And
and
he
Dry.
wrote the
He
second.
played on the
Yeah.
Through the Night, or I can't remember what it was, but how he had to deal with, like, it's in Wikipedia, and the guys, like, everybody loves Pete Willis in the town, but back in
Hmm.
the day, he got kicked out and he was a young kid because of his drinking, and he was like
Rock and roll.
18 years old. What and they felt like he had a little problem with it, so they booted him out. I was like, how crushing is that? He's probably a father. He's got kids, wife, and everything, and you got to read that in Wikipedia. And I mean, he wrote a bunch of Def Leppard songs,
Yeah.
and he made some money in his life. But you know how people can change the Wikipedia if you know all the bars and codes and that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. But like, oh man, I would try to reword some of that a little bit.
I would be, yeah, I'd scrape myself from the internet, I think, if I would do. But that's what I'm saying. I mean, those are some of the interesting talks I've had, though. Like when I do these, I mean, you and I kind of go really weird. But when I talk to other people, professional musicians, it's totally different. It's,
Are they professional?
I since you were paying attention, you could hear me. No, but like when I talk to artists that have gone through that, I talk to like Ricky from Leonard Skinner, when he's talking about how he was supposed to be on the plane that
Medlock.
night. Yes, Medlock. He was
Wait, wait,
on.
wait, wait, wait. Anyway,
He was supposed to. He was a drummer of them at one point, in the first time they started out, and he's like a hold his heart or some heart problem, and he didn't think he was a good enough drummer, so he quit Leonard Skinner. I'm like, you quit Leonard Skinner? Who does that? And then he started his own band, but he was so friends with them, and the night the plane went down, um, they're like, oh, come on, on the plane and do the tour, whatever. And he was gonna go with them as a friend, and he goes, he had started Blackfoot, right? Blackfoot was a band.
that's
He
right.
got a gig at the last minute, and he had to go. And the singer got mad at him. Obviously, he died. He's like, oh, he's blowing me off. He's like, I just got a gig. We got a couple of gigs. So he didn't make the plane. It's like one of those 9/11 stories. He goes off and plays his gig. He's on a stage. He gets off, and he gets a thing. They go, oh, your friend, the plane went down. Long story short, he ends up getting back in the band as a guitar player, and he's on the bus somewhere on one of those double-decker buses. He's talking to one of the other members of Skinner. I'm kind of skipping through it here. And he says, when he went down, he goes, I've always felt guilty for not being with you guys when the plane went down. They're like, no, there's never been an issue. So he felt like all that different stuff that led up to that, he still had that guilt. And they didn't like deal with that till he was in the band years later when he was in the band in some weird conversation. Those are kind of fun stories to hear.
Oh, God. I, I'm so glad you told me that. I love Skinnerd. I was lucky enough to, Kevin Elson produced all those first 4 or 5 Mr. Big records, and he produced Leonard Skinnerd
Yeah.
in the days. He actually was their live sound engineer. He was on that airplane, but Kevin uh, was producing Skinnerd. God, I don't remember. I can't remember the album, but it was a song called "Pure and Simple" that I came and I sang with
Yeah.
Johnny Van Zant, and it wasn't a duet. I called it a duet because it was just him and I singing on it. Keep it pure and simple. Oh man, it had a number. It was like 1994, or I can't remember the name of the album. But I met all these guys in Skinner. I met Ed King,
Oh,
the
wow.
original guitar player. I think he wrote Sweet Home Alabama. Anyway, um, but I would have loved to meet Ricky Medlock, and I'm so glad you told me that story. What
I
are
have so many stories like that. Like, I
oh,
actually have so many stories I can't even share. Like, not in the air, but I've heard so many behind the scenes stories of things that have almost happened from other musicians with other musicians that I'm like, I've actually forgotten some now. I'm like, because I hear things I'm like, can't share publicly. You have a ton of those. And
we
I'll be
are
like,
doing we're doing it now.
well, not now. That was publicly on my show. I'm saying that was on my show. Those are all, everything I'm sharing with you has been on the air that we're sharing
Oh,
here on the air. But there are things I've heard and I would never, if I'm told not to share it, I would never share. But just good things that you've heard that would never be public. They're like, yeah. I'm like, that would be a great story. People should know it. They're like, no, I don't want anybody to know. I'm like, oh, I won't share it.
well, that's happened to me a couple times with you. I think I've talked to you a little bit, and then I'll
Yeah,
say
yeah.
something, and it won't. I don't mean it to be derogatory, but it'll later on. I'll go, oh God, I wonder if somebody's going to misconstrue what I'm saying. Where um, I'm looking at like
That,
as the joke, or like I'm just making a little funny joke, but then later on go, oh, somebody's going to get hurt. Please don't do this. And then I know you're probably going to go, oh, the crux of the show is the meat.
no, I don't actually laugh. I think one time you're like, oh, get rid of that piece because I know someone will freeze that screenshot and then it'll follow me forever. And I won't even, you know what that is. And I'm like, delete it. I don't care. I've had some other artists go, hey, I was talking about this and I was describing their house. It was a really good, interesting thing. And they're like, yeah, maybe they wouldn't want me sharing what it looks like. I'm like, it was innocuous or whatever. It wasn't like offensive or anything. They're just describing the artist's house and like when there was an earthquake, things that happened in it and stuff. Nothing bad. Just a good rock and roll story.
Yeah.
And but to respect them, they're like, you know what? They might feel like I'd be talking out and sharing something like the privacy of that artist. If you could take that out. They go, I'm sorry if it goes against your, and they actually were serious, like going against your journalistic. I'm like, what? Eric, I want to thank you for being on the show, man. It's always a pleasure.
Yeah. I
Thanks
enjoy
for
it.
the jibber
Sorry.
jabber, the flim flam.
I am so, I love the jibber jabber. I think you had to call the show, Sean Ratches.
Jibber jabber.
Jibber Jabber. I think it's a great title. I'll call my new album Kid Courage. You do the Jibber Jabber. Let's see if that works.
At least
I
the song title.
appreciate your patience. When you said 12 Eastern time, and I'm going to tell you right off the bat, I apologize. And what are you, high? You think I'm going to wake up at 9 o'clock and first of all, I wouldn't be able to find this cool T-shirt. This would be, actually, it's terrible, but it would be worse than this. But anyway, yeah, if we do this again, and hopefully we do, my fault, and I do owe you a 9 o'clock one of these
All good,
days,
man.
but I don't have to
It's all
worry
good.
about that now because we don't, probably not going to talk for like a month or two.
At least a month or two. Eric,
Mm.
thank you for being on the show, man. I
Right
appreciate
on,
it.
brother.
Do that best.
Hey.
Take care.
Okay.